Oh, it is. It is a Wednesday edition, an almost but not quite Thanksgiving episode of Donno Daily here on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Huge shout out to everybody who's watching us live. Whether you're watching live or you watch this later on, do us a solid and smash that like button and make sure you subscribe to the Five Reasons YouTube channel. I shouldn't have to tell you this by now, but there's a ton of great content all over Five Reasons YouTube. So yes, right there, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. And man, I hope you guys are getting ready. You've done all your shopping for all the cooking you have to do tomorrow, family get together. Hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving coming up. You notice that two right now of the best athletes in South Florida are guys named Tyler. Van Dyke with the Miami Hurricanes, Herro with the Miami Heat. And we will talk about both of these Tylers and much more on today's episode of Donno Daily. In about 14 minutes, Mike Cugno from CBS 4, sports anchor and reporter, is scheduled to join us. In about 30 minutes, our friend, the anti-mush, Barry Barger from BetUS.com, is scheduled to join us. He's going to give us winners on the Thanksgiving Day football games. We're going to focus on the Thanksgiving Day games with Barry when he comes on. And guys, I regret that I couldn't be out there last night, but it didn't seem like I was too missed. That watch party at the Quarterdeck Davy looked fantastic. I had a little childcare fiasco, didn't have a babysitter, so I couldn't make it out there. You bet your ass I will be out at the next one. The Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. This is where magic happens, my friends. And you want to talk about magic. The first time Royal A. Shepherd and Alphonse Sidney, Alf, met one another in person. They're big fans of one another. They're like internet pals. They actually met each other face to face for the first time at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. So the Quarterdeck brings people together. And not only that, the curse was broken. For about 3 quarters, it looked like the curse was going to stand. But the Miami Heat actually won a game last night against a crappy Detroit Pistons team, but they broke the Five Reasons Sports watch party curse. It was a Heat victory. Everyone was enjoying the delicious seafood, the fresh burgers, sandwiches, key lime cheesecake, and yeah, the 2-for-1 drinks. 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day at the Quarterdeck. Every time I go out to the Quarterdeck, I have the time of my life. I love watching all the big games out there. If you go out there Saturdays and Sundays for college football and pro football, you can take advantage of the 5 for $15 ice cold buckets of the Heineken family of beers, High Noon Hard Seltzer, or mix and match those to your heart's content, guys. And I watch every UFC pay-per-view fight at the Quarterdeck locations because they have those for zero cover charge. If you want to peep their menu or find the location nearest to you before you go, check them out on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And we have an official sports book here on Donno Daily. I had a couple of bad beats in yesterday's Champions League games, but I think I'm bouncing back nicely here today. BetUS.com. I've won a lot of money on BetUS.com. Guys, this is a full-service sports book. It's like having Las Vegas on your phone, in your pocket, on your computer, because it's not only odds on every sporting event you can imagine, parlays, live betting, on all of it, by the way. They also have an online casino where you can play blackjack for real money, play all sorts of table games and slot games at BetUS.com. Guys, this is the perfect time to get in. You've got everything going on right now. NBA, NHL, NFL, college football is winding down, getting into bowl season pretty soon. When you sign up at America's favorite sports book, BetUS, with our code, you get the best bonus in the industry. You're not going to find this anywhere else. Sign up with our code 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. So if you sign up, for example, with $100 when you make your deposit, they're going to give you $125 on top of that $100 in free play money. It is so good, my friends. BetUS.com. Bet sports, bet horses, casino. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Oh my goodness. So yesterday, it was terminal for 3 quarters, 3+ quarters. Watching that Heat game last night, very, very sloppy. I debated flipping channels. Like, I really debated, have I caught up on Curb Your Enthusiasm? Should I watch a little more Squid Game? Like, I didn't know what to do because it was really bad last night. And then in the fourth quarter, we needed a hero. And Tyler Herro put his Superman cape on. We also got some really good facilitation from Kyle Lowry, who finished the game with 15 points. Miami had a handful of 15-point scorers. Tyler Herro ends up 31 points on the night, and he scored 14 fourth quarter points. And this is becoming usual. Like, this is becoming a normal type of game for Tyler Herro, that watching him score in the high 20s and now 31, this doesn't feel abnormal at all. And my friends, a couple of years ago, we thought, oh, this is a spot up shooter. This is going to be an outside guy. It's really incredible the way that Tyler Herro is rounding out his game from the defensive side to on offense. So many different ways to score. He's so good off the ball. He has developed that fadeaway jumper, the step back. He can drive to the rim, can create his own shot, is going to bang down money threes. We call this young man Baby Goat for a reason. And I had an episode last week, and our guys, Brooklyn Rob and David, they call me the mush, right? And they were sure that I was going to mush Tyler Herro to no end because I referred to him last week, and I'm going to stick with it. I want to make this his official nickname. I know it's been used before, but I think we can dust it off, okay? Because I haven't heard this nickname used on a Miami Heat player since about 1992. We need to start the campaign for Tyler Herro to be called Baby Jordan, because he is channeling his inner Michael Jordan. It felt like he was channeling his inner Dwayne Wade in the fourth quarter, the way that he was taking over that game. And yeah, I know back in 1992, we used to refer to Harold Miner as Baby Jordan. That one never panned out the way that we wanted it to. But God, Tyler Herro. And it's ironic because the guy on that Heat roster, and a sensational player, I'm not trying to take a dig at this guy, but the guy that we refer to on this Heat roster as Mr. No Ceiling is Bam Adebayo. And yet the guy who has been improving his game at a much more rapid rate since last year has been Tyler Herro. I mean, you can count on this guy. He's going to be a shoo-in for sixth man, okay? These are some great stats for Tyler, okay? Tyler Herro ranks second in the NBA in total fourth quarter points with 113. The only person he is trailing is MVP candidate DeMar DeRozan, who has 126 fourth quarter points this year. Tyler Herro has 113. This is a stat noted by Will Manso from WPLG. He says, is Tyler Herro already the most productive sixth man in Miami Heat history? He now has 7 of the 13 games in Heat history where a player has scored 29 plus points off the bench. Translation, he's a bucket. That's incredible. That's incredible. Only 13 times in the illustrious history of this franchise has a player off the bench scored 29 or more points. It's only happened 13 times. And the guy that we're looking at right now, the shoe-in for sixth man of the year, Tyler freaking Herro, the Baby Jordan, has already accounted for more than half of those games. Here's a stat from Ethan Skolnick. Tyler Herro's 22.1 points per game would be the third highest point per game for a sixth man of the year winner in NBA history, behind only Ricky Pierce, who had 23 per game, and Lou Williams, who had 22.6 per game. And my friends, I mean, Tyler averaging 22.1 points per game. It wouldn't surprise me if that average keeps creeping up, right? And there are some people who are wondering, should Tyler be starting? Like, should Tyler be taking Duncan Robinson's spot on the bench? I was watching an unbelievable conversation that the guys on After Floor, the Post Up, whatever we call the post-game show here on 5 Reasons Sports. I was watching, I think it's the Post Up. I was watching that after the Heat game last night, and it was Ariel who made a really good point that you have to wonder at some point this season, because I know Eric Spoelstra, he loves his rotations. Like, he doesn't like to tinker too much with taking people off the bench when it's working and putting them in the starting unit, barring injury. Because the times that we've seen Tyler Herro start games this year, it's been when someone like Jimmy Butler is injured and they adjust accordingly. But you have to wonder if we ever get Victor Oladipo out of cryo freeze. Like, if we ever wake him up from cryo sleep, that could happen probably sometime shortly after Christmas. Like, it could happen after January, and he's going to get his feet wet a little bit. And I think as long as Depot can stay healthy, Depot is going to become the weapon off the bench. And maybe Depot becomes more of the sixth man, and maybe they do experiment more with Tyler Herro in the starting lineup, regardless as to whether or not someone from the usual starting lineup is injured. So it's something to look out for. And people are taking notice. I wonder if what Charles Barkley said a couple of weeks ago, because Tyler Herro seems like the type of guy who reads the press clippings, right? Different athletes in town. Some of them you can tell they read the papers and they watch ESPN. Other guys like Tua, I don't think Tua cares. Like Tua Tagovailoa is the type of guy that probably just blocks all of that out. I feel like Tyler Herro, because he's all over social media, is probably watching these clips. He's probably reading the things that are written about him. And a couple of weeks ago, when that doofus, Charles Barkley, was talking about how overrated Herro is because he comes off the bench and he plays against backups, I think my man Raf Tyler certainly caught wind of those comments, and he's showing Charles Barkley, I'll show you a guy who only plays against backups, right? I'm playing 32 minutes a game, Charles. How mathematically is it possible that I'm only playing against backups when I'm playing for like 3/4 of the game out here, man? So he is proving any of the doubters wrong. And you know what, my friends? I used to be a doubter. I used to be a Tyler Herro doubter. Oh, man, if somebody could produce recordings, and I hope you can't, of how many times during last season, right, a combination of the shows that I did on Onside Radio, which is now defunct, or shows that I've done on 560 and 790, if somebody could produce a tape of how many times last season I called for Tyler Herro to be traded. I was offering this guy up in every trade package possible. I wanted to trade Tyler Herro to get Kyle Lowry last year. We ended up getting Kyle Lowry for nothing as a free agent. Well, a lot of money, but no trade pieces involved, right? I wanted to trade him for James Harden, get him the hell out of here. How many times I tried last season when he was having not even a terrible year, but a bit of a sophomore slump last year. How many times I tried to trade this guy? How many times Heat fans tried to trade Baby Goat? How many times the media tried to trade him? And let's be real here. I'm sure there would have been certain packages where Pat Riley would have been open to trading him. We dodged a bullet, my friends. We absolutely dodged a bullet not trading this guy. Now, there's a caveat to that, okay? I don't think we ever would have even known the full extent of what we were missing. Hear me out. I think there's really only a handful, if even that many, of other franchises that could have nurtured and brought up Tyler Herro the way that Heat culture is doing it. I mean, Tyler, and yeah, a lot of it is his own work ethic. I'm not going to take all the credit away from Herro for the way he's been able to transform his mental game and his physical game this year. He's made his body bigger. He's gotten stronger. I think for him having, a newborn daughter, because I know how that stuff changes people. And I think that's been a big part of his maturity and his growth process as well. Okay. Who's to say that if Tyler Herro had been traded away, if he had been shipped off somewhere like Houston or Toronto, who's to say he would be developing and thriving in any other NBA franchise the way that he's thriving here, under the tutelage of Eric Spoelstra, under the tutelage and mentorship of people like Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry, because he and Lowry have really clicked together on the court, and I assume they're clicking off the court as well. You got the Godfather, Udonis Haslem, as a part of this Heat culture. Honestly, if we had traded away Tyler Herro, we may never even realize what we were missing, because if he had gone somewhere else, who knows if he would be having the type of year he's having right now. So that would have been an opportunity missed, but we would never even know the full extent of it, man. So the way that Herro is thriving out there, and again, it's wild that a team that has the quote-unquote big three, I call it a big four because I'm including Tyler Herro into that conversation. I think you have a big four. But when people talk about the Miami Heat's quote-unquote big three, which is Jimmy, Lowry, and Bam, when you've got that big three, the guy who was taking over in the fourth quarter last night, and we've seen it multiple times already this year, is the 22-year-old Baby Goat. That you've got a team full of past, present, future, potential all-stars, and I put Tyler Herro now in that conversation as well, and Tyler Herro is the guy. He's the one taking over in the fourth quarter, and Kyle Lowry is not only a fantastic player, but he's a stellar teammate, because the way that Lowry was facilitating and allowing Herro to keep his hot hand and setting him up to knock down shots, that was great. He wasn't trying to take over the game himself. He was allowing Tyler to do his thing. David writes in, I show up late and I'm mushing everyone, he says. Tyler Herro has already proven he's unmushable. I mean, how many times have I anointed the Baby Goat Tyler Herro and he keeps playing through it, man? All-star Tyler Herro, says Zachary B. Herro is untouchable. And didn't Riley say that last year? Like Pat Riley even mentioned it after the trade deadline, which was a very convenient time to say it because the deadline came and went. He talked about Herro and even Duncan Robinson. Now Duncan, he hit 50% of his threes last night. I'm still a little bit sour on Dunk. Okay, imagine if Duncan was consistent, how good he would be. So I would trade Duncan for a bag of Lay's Originals if it were up to me. But Tyler, I think Tyler is untouchable. Pat Riley said it last year. I didn't believe him. I believe it now. So yeah, outside of the Tyler Herro show and a good fourth quarter by the Miami Heat, last night's game was virtually unwatchable. Now they didn't cover the spread, and that in itself is a Thanksgiving miracle because I thought about betting that game, Heat -10, and I got really distracted, lazy. One of those words I'm sure applies, and I never bet the game. And thank God I didn't, because I would have lost that bet. I would have been very angry. All right, let's bring on our first guest of the day. I'm so glad I get to bring this man on a video platform now, because I always felt, Mike, when I would talk to you on the radio, I wasn't doing that face of yours justice. There's a reason why you're a TV star. We talk about faces for radio, Exhibit A right here. This man has a face for TV. Mike Cugno, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing better now. If I'm going to get complimented like this, I should come here more often.
Hey, there's always an open invitation for you, man. So there's a lot of things I want to bounce around with you, but let's start on the topic of the day here, and that is just the continued excellence of Tyler Herro. Mike, did you see it coming with Tyler? Because I was getting really frustrated with Herro last year, and what do you think have been the biggest factors for him taking this next step up in his game?
It may sound simple, but it may just be the time off he was able to get in the off season to go from a rookie superstar, explode on the scene in a pandemic where all the focus is on the bubble because there's nothing much going on. And then year two feels like it happens weeks later. There wasn't really that level of development that I think everyone else gets. And I don't mean to give that to him as an excuse, but I just think that's a matter of fact. I mean, look how many teams who made the playoffs in the bubble struggled, the following year in these long runs. So I think that's a big, that's a big part of it all. And I don't think I was certain I was ready or expecting to see this kind of explosion offensively this year from him, considering he had kind of plateaued last year. But I think maybe the Heat saw it because remember, they had already picked up his rookie option going into the year, almost like a year early. So you got to wonder, did they lock him up for less? Maybe, going into, contract extension after this season. So I think maybe the Heat expected some of this. So, I mean, to get what they're getting from their sixth man right now, it's incredible.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that they won that game last night. I know that it wasn't pretty, but when you're talking about an 82-game season, you're going to have some ugly games against bad teams. I'm just thankful that they pulled it out at the end of the day. But what have you made this season so far, Mike, of just how many players are stepping up for this team? Now, I wish Duncan Robinson would step up a little bit more often, but, Jimmy, he's playing at this Jim VP level. And Kyle Lowry, to me, like I had a feeling he could do this because I watched him enough in Toronto where I had some understanding of the type of spark that he could provide. But he's been, even when he's not always filling out the box score, he's been pretty much a perfect addition so far.
Yeah, perfect because of what he allows other people to do, right? Like that's the thing. Like when he's out on the court, Jimmy can be Jimmy, the basketball player, not necessarily Jimmy, the point guard type of, player. Bam doesn't have to carry the ball down the floor. They can allow someone who's really good at doing those things to do that specific thing and let them get back to their normal positions of Jimmy trying to get to the rim, trying to create his own shot, Bam working down low, all these different things that, that they were doing before, but tack on the responsibility of having to run the offense as well. So when you have a guy like Lowry in there, I just think that it makes everyone more free and more open. And I think that's what you're seeing with the offense. The offense just aesthetically looks better this year than it has in years past.
Mike Cugno from CBS4 is with us here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So in 5 days, I don't often look forward to November regular season games this much, but November 29th, we get the Denver Nuggets rematch. And I don't know if they're going to pull any shenanigans on the injury report with Nikola Jokic, if maybe he just decides he's not man enough to play in that game November 29th. But are you expecting it to be chippy, or do you think this is one of those situations, Mike, we're heading into this game, we're all expecting there to be like skirmishes and like near fights, and then at the end of the day, it's just going to end up being business as usual?
I think we're going to get let down a little bit. And
Yeah.
the reason I say that is just because look how much time Markieff has missed, and he wasn't the one suspended. Like Jokic gets suspended and Markieff still, was still missing time. So
Yeah.
I like, there is depth on this team, but you can't keep just losing players in these situations. You can't have guys getting suspended. I think it's a bad look. I think it was a bad look in that game for Jokic to do that. So, yeah, I think it'll be a bit of a letdown. It'll be more for social media fodder than anything else.
Are you going to try? Because I know you are a journalist at heart. Are you going to try to maybe track down an interview, a one-on-two interview with the Jokic brothers? Because there have been reports that the elder brothers, Strahinja, and I don't remember the other one's name, that the two older brothers are going to be at the game. I need to see the Cugno exclusive.
I don't want to go one on anything with those guys. Like, that's just unless UD's behind me somewhere, ready to go.
You need UD there.
Yeah. May need some backup. No, it'll be interesting. I'm sure we'll be there for the game just because it's a big, it's a big game, big Western Conference opponent. So I'm sure the cameras will be searching the stands to see if there's anything irregular going on. But no, I can't imagine the microphones will be trying to find them. I think everyone will be trying to film from a distance.
Okay. I want to get to some Dolphin stuff with you as well here. People always kind of try to paint me into a corner, right? Sometimes I'll say things where people think I'm a Tua stan. Other times I'll say things where people think I'm a Tua hater. It's like Tua Tagovailoa, and he's such a nice guy, so he doesn't do this on purpose. It's just the fandom. It's like politics with him. Like people think you're either on one side or the other. I'm a little bit concerned about his long-term durability. I've also been very encouraged by the recent performances. Is Tua showing us enough so far this season? He still has 6 games left to play this year, but is he showing you enough, Mike, where you feel like this is a guy we can build around for the next 10, 15 years, or are you still on the fence like me?
So let's call this the Tannehill effect, right? So guys
like
you and me who are willing to give Tua more time, were patient with Tannehill, so much so that it ate up 7 to 8 seasons of our lives, right? So we're like, look, we've been through the wait before. We understand how hard it is to find a quarterback. Give the guy a shot. You spent a fifth overall pick on him, and he's proven to be serviceable. It's not like he's bad, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I am of the belief that I think you could win with Tua. I think you can. Now, what the ceiling is on that winning, time will only tell. They have to fix things offensively. He even admitted today in his press conference. We've noticed that the Dolphins get out to these quick starts in their first series. They usually perform pretty well. He admitted that it's the second, third, fourth, fifth series of the game that's kind of haunting them right now. They have to prove that offensively they can sustain these scoring outputs. That it can't just be from the first drive that's scripted or whatever you want to call it. Although I think in the NFL, you're basically scripting most things and then it kind of just tails off depending on scenarios. So yeah, I think them as a team just had to be better execution wise. The pass on the second series last week that got picked off, he was going to try to fit something into a ridiculously tight window. It might have hadn't even gotten there and been a good throw. It still might have gotten picked off. So it's just stuff like that, decision making. And he's pretty careful with the football. But that was a big one because that was after that first drive. You felt like, okay, we can kind of hit the gas on the Jets and maybe put this game out of reach in the first half. And that wasn't the case because of those little execution mistakes. That's the stuff that he's got to clean up and just perform better at. But I think time, health, all those things, when they come together, I think Tua can be a good quarterback.
What do you think about the Carolina game this Sunday? I was actually a little bit surprised to see the Dolphins as home underdogs. I don't know if the
Yeah.
line has moved since yesterday, but I saw they were 2-point underdogs, at least as of yesterday. What are you expecting on Sunday?
Well, I think Carolina's a tough team. If you went through this schedule and you went, okay, the next 4 games, you could possibly get to 7-7, having 2 against the Jets, 1 against the Giants, and then Carolina. You probably looked at Carolina as like, okay, that's kind of going to be the tough one right there, right? That's got to be the tough of the 4. Offensively, you're still not sure what you're getting. Cam Newton is he's a unique player, interesting player. Jerome Baker said it today. I asked him what was the difference, what you learned about playing with against him when he was in the Patriots. They said that first game against the Patriots, where they went up to New England and lost, it was almost like they were kind of learning on the fly. Like they'd come back to the sideline and go, okay, so he can do this and this and this. So they kind of, now they have 2 games, a 2-game book on him at least, because when he played with the Pats last year. I think they'll be able to figure that out. But McCaffrey's there. That's going to be tough. And then I think their defense probably doesn't get enough credit. Good pass rush, and their corners are pretty good. So that's where I look. I looked at the Dolphins are probably going to have some of these. I don't know if they're going to get the big plays they want, but maybe some of the sustained drives will do more service to them. And remember what they did this week. They had drives of 11 plays, 14 plays. I think they had another 12-play drive. If they can get those strung together and keep Cam Newton off the field, that way some of these young corners, young safeties aren't necessarily guessing where he's going to go. I think that's going to help.
Mike, you're a connected guy up there at CBS Miami. Do you have anything for me? Because I've been jonesing ever since the day that Blake James was let go or mutually parted ways with Miami. I see these fugazi reports that come out like, oh, today they may announce a new athletic director. No, tomorrow they're going to announce it. And it's almost Thanksgiving now, and the regular season finale is coming up in just a few days. Do you have any idea, Mike, who is it going to be, and when are we going to get an announcement?
I have no idea. I wish I could tell you, but I'm sitting here watching these reports too, and it's chaos over here. It's not chaos over there. Like,
right.
This is just one of those things where there's a lot of reporting about this going on, and I just think it's all dependent on who the sources are. Basically, the points of view from the people who are, whether in the know or have the money, that have kind of like gained access into this program because of it. So it's an interesting dynamic what's going on over there in Coral Gables. I personally, I didn't think that it would go the athletic director first gone, then the head coach. I kind of thought it would have gone the other way around. But Manny's won some games here, so maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe they just want a breath of fresh air in there, someone outside the program to run that department, and then just kind of take a look at it with eyes who are not, who have not been in the building, just kind of a fresh slate. I gotta say, it's a little weird right now for Miami, the position they're in. But if you're a Hurricanes fan, I think you have to be encouraged that maybe money's coming into this program, fresh ideas, fresh look, because we've seen the quote unquote Miami people, Miami guys, people with ties to university come in, and it just hasn't been working out the way they wanted to. So I think there's a unique opportunity where they can kind of start fresh.
Before I let you run, I want to bring the conversation full circle. I want to ask you one more thing about Tyler Herro, because you and I both know how Eric Spoelstra, he likes when he figures out a role for a player, whether it be a 6-man or a starter, he doesn't like to tinker too much unless there's injuries and he's forced to do that. Like the times we've seen Tyler Herro start games this year, it's usually been only when Jimmy Butler is out of the lineup. Do you think we could ever see a point this season where Tyler just plays himself into a starting role and maybe Duncan Robinson plays himself out of one? Or do you think Spo will keep Tyler as the 6th man at all costs?
I think they keep him there, and there's a few reasons. I know Duncan's struggling, but what Duncan brings for you on the floor is the threat that he can go off for 9 or 10 threes. Like, even if he hasn't been there, that there's a huge spacing thing there that I think is important and something that you can't really forget. And even though Duncan's in a slump, he's making $95 million for a reason. I think at some point he'll shoot his way out of it. Now, him coming off the bench thing, I remember I asked Goran Dragic this when he was here. like what the benefits are, and you do get to of coming off the bench. Remember, he came off the bench. Even Dwayne Wade, going back a few years, was that
It's
six
true.
man off the bench. You kind of get a feel for how they're defending. What the game. You kind of letting the game come to you. You could kind of see how teams are working defensively, and I think that's a benefit to Tyler Herro. I think that helps. While he's not getting starter minutes, he gets to watch the game for basically 2-3 minutes. Then he's in there, and then he's in there till the last horn, right? So to me, it doesn't really matter whether or not he starts. It matters for the Sixth Man of the Year award, which I think he's probably running away with at the moment. But I don't think that's going to take his role now is not going to take away from that. His role now is probably not going to take away from the fact that he's an all-star. And by the way, credit Tyler Herro, because I don't know if he did this on purpose, but mentioning that whole same class as Luka and Trey and all that stuff, all of a
Yes.
sudden he's got eyes on him. And now people are paying attention to where here's a kid who, he plateaued year two. He's just a nice role player. There he goes. No, he brought the attention to himself, and then he started delivering on that attention. And so now that's how superstars are made. I'm not comparing him to LeBron James. Let me just say that a disclaimer.
He's better than
Remember,
LeBron James, Mike.
LeBron James coming out of high school, everyone was like, oh, look at this guy. Like, there's a lot of hype. But we've seen other high schoolers have hype. He delivered on the hype. And so that's what I think. That's where I think Tyler delivering on that sort of hype before the season started is actually helping him become more of a household name.
I think you're onto something there, because since he made those comments, and then I talk about this almost daily on this show, like the comments that Charles Barkley made about him, which were dumb, because he acts as if Tyler literally only goes up against other teams' bench players when he's out there 32 minutes a game. It's not even possible for that to happen. But he's been extra lights out since the Barkley stuff. And I know Tyler Herro is the type where he's going to read those headlines, right? There are certain athletes in town who may not. Like, I'm not sure if Tua sees all that stuff. I think that he blocks a lot of that out. But I think in the case of Tyler, he probably plays those comments on loop. And every day he's like, I got to prove Barkley wrong again and again and again. So I think that sort of stuff does motivate him.
Yeah, I think it does too. Look, we've seen Tyler on social media all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if he notices that. And, I think basketball players are actually fans of that show. Because you always see them commenting on the clips and stuff, which I think is cool. It's cool that they're fans of something that goes on in the media, that we're not the enemy that people, make us out to be sometimes. So I think they pay attention to that stuff. And when you also hear it from a guy like Charles Barkley, someone who's been in the league and stuff, you probably take a little bit of stock in it because he's been there. I think all of that's good. The fact that he hears it, he probably doesn't let it affect him, doesn't let it get to him, and then still goes out and delivers. That's what you want, right? I mean, if you're gonna listen to it, at least compartmentalize those things and be able to focus on what matters, and that's balling, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Well, it's truly excellent stuff here, which we always expect from this man, Mike Cugno. You can see him on CBS Miami Channel 4 down here. Mike, let the people know where they can find you on all the social media channels as well.
So Twitter and Instagram are both the same, at Mike Cugno CBS4. You can hit me up there. If you ever want to debate anything sports, the DMs are open. Always tweet at me. We love hearing from you guys, and love doing this stuff too.
Keep up the great work, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Donno. Appreciate it.
Awesome stuff there, Mike Cugno. Oh wait, hold on. Did I cut you off too early? It sounded like you were going to say something.
I want to say Happy Thanksgiving. I forgot.
Yes.
On the way out.
Happy Thanksgiving. By the way, what is the most overrated part of the Thanksgiving table, Mike? Because like for me, I don't need cranberry sauce on my Thanksgiving table. You could throw that right in the garbage. Is there anything you don't need on that table?
Green bean casserole.
Ooh, that's a good one. Because honestly, like, it's Thanksgiving. Like, and listen, eating healthy is fine, and I know you're a big healthy eater, but it's Thanksgiving Day. Like, am I really going to waste my the room in my stomach on green bean casserole when there's so much else I could be stuffing my face with?
I just don't like the way it looks. I've never even had it. I just look at it and go, that one's not for me.
I appreciate you as always, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
All right, man. Be well.
I love it there. Mike Cugno from CBS 4. We're going to go into another one of our absolute favorites. Not only is he going to give us some winners for the weekend, but I've got to get some of his hottest Thanksgiving food takes as well. Barry Barger BetUS.com, the official sportsbook of Donno Daily. Barry, is there anything you would throw right off the Thanksgiving table?
I was kind of laughing at the green bean casserole because what he was saying, I was like, oh, yeah. Yep. The other stuff is anything with onions.
Oh, see, I like onions, but I don't consider onions to be some kind of a Thanksgiving Day staple, so I'd be okay with that.
No, well, and stuffing and everything, my mom used to grind them up and mash them in a blender, and because me, my brothers, my dad, my family, it's sin cebolla. Sin cebolla. First Spanish words I learned, without onions. Sin cebolla. It's, but yeah, that's other than that, man. Leftovers is the bomb. Got a bunch of Miracle Whip and white bread ready to go for the after. And we just found out we had more people coming, so we got to get another turkey, and we're going to fry one.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
See, that's the way to go. I always get myself into trouble this time of year because I think turkey, for the most part, incredibly overrated. But if I'm going to do a turkey, the deep fry, it's the way to go. Like a deep fried turkey, I think that's the best way to cook a turkey.
It's so moist. I mean, it's the best. And anybody who hasn't tried it just needs to try it. Take a chance on the fire or whatever, whatever. Just
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
You can get a new house. You can't get a new Thanksgiving 2021, right? I mean, come on. Do it right, people.
just have like a bunch of fire extinguishers just ready.
We've had a few fires doing the one time. We had it, the oil spilled out, there's a big fire, and the whole thing, everybody ran away, and me and my brother went up, we got it out, but it's like, the propane's going to blow up, it's like, shut up, the turkey's fine.
It's fine, don't even worry about it. And of course, along with the food, the great Thanksgiving tradition are NFL games. And Barry, I even, one of my best friends is Canadian, and he even, because, they have a whole different Thanksgiving. They have this ridiculous October Thanksgiving. But my buddy, he's born and raised in Canada, and he's such a big fan of American Thanksgiving that he takes work off every year on Thanksgiving Thursday in Canada because he wants to sit on his ass and watch all the NFL games. And they're not all great games this year. They're not. And the early, I think go ahead.
But they're games. I mean, they're games. I think it's having those, 3 games, NFL games. Dude, it's awesome. Even if it's Chicago, Detroit,
Right, exactly. And you know what? I mean, even if that's a crappy game, chances are you have maybe somebody on your fantasy team or you're betting on the game, and we're going to talk about that. So we have the 12:30 game is Chicago at Detroit, and usually the Thanksgiving stinkers are the ones that involve Detroit. It's just how it is. You've got the Raiders at the Cowboys at 4:30, and then the night game is going to be Bills, who they've looked bad lately. We'll see how they bounce back at the New Orleans Saints. But let's start with Chicago at Detroit, because obviously for me to be fully invested in a game like this, I've got to have some action, Barry. And the Bears they're 3-point road favorites. The over-under here is 41.5. Is there anything you like in this one?
Oh, yeah. You got to believe the 3. It's only 3, right? It was a 3.5.
It's only 3. I just refreshed.
Only 3. Awesome. Jump on it. It's going to go up.
3.
Yeah. Get on the 3 right now. Detroit, just bet against them every freaking Thanksgiving. Okay, so you got – so who's going to quarterback?
Your guess is as good as mine.
What are they going to do? I was listening to somebody, Michael Lombardi, who used to be a GM and stuff. I was listening to him earlier. He's like, boy, this first game, we got a couple mastermind coaches here.
And Campbell?
He's being totally facetious.
Oh, I see.
And and I like Campbell. Nagy won't be around next week, but and we have odds up on those coaches things too. So that's another thing to bet.
That's a good shout because I love those props.
Yeah, and so Detroit. What do they have? DeAndre Swift's he's going to be able to run the ball. I think Chicago goes up 4.65 yards carry or something like that. So he's going to eat. So if you've got him in fantasy, that's great. You're going to have fun watching that. Besides that, Chicago, you got Andy Dalton starting, which
QB1.
he's still got an arm, and it's Detroit. So the 3 points, I really jump on it now. And it'll probably be 4.5 before we get done with the show. If everybody listens to me, please.
they're all betting it right now.
You better hurry, because that's another thing. I'm call the line table and go, you're wrong. But wait till Donno guys get in on it first. I always wait for you. And but this one, it's an opener game, so it's early. You're still prepping and you're meeting everybody that's coming in and stuff. So it doesn't have to be a great game. You just have to bet it. As far as the total goes, 41. I hate betting unders, but it's a tough one here for me. What do you got there, Alex?
I will say that if there's ever a game I wouldn't mind betting the under, it's probably this game, because I'm expecting offensive futility, right? And when these teams start trading punts and probably trading turnovers, the only thing that's going to make me feel better about that is saying, oh, thank you, Lord, that I locked in under 41.5. Like that might be the only thing that makes this game entertaining when nobody's scoring.
Right. At least you'll be the only one having fun. It's like Jesus, when they score some points, it's like, shut up! I got money on this under.
People at my house on Thanksgiving are like, why is this dude cheering for punts? I'm like, I got the under. Let's go. Right.
And it's when you're with some people and you're cheering for both teams because you got fantasy guys on each team, and it's especially when I grew up in Nebraska, when we're so. That's different when you grow up in a pro town and you're with a bunch of pro buddies. Say you're a Packer and you're rooting against the Packers when, say, Allen Robinson's catching a ball against Green Bay or something, and you're just getting pumped. It's like, dude, I got him on my fantasy. It's like, where's your loyalties? Fantasy football takes loyalties right out the door. Yeah. Gets rid of them all. It's really weird, but it's good. It's fun. Under. Under. I think I'm with you. I think, why not?
Yeah.
Like a 10-0 game.
Yeah, that would be awesome. If I have under 41.5 and it's like 3-0 heading into the fourth quarter, this is the best game ever.
Right. And I think, teasing it, if you can, to tease it to under 47 and to get Chicago +3, that's a pretty damn good one there too. That's 2 of the 6. So we'll add the other 4 teasers as we go through these other games here.
Okay. Well, yeah, and let's head to the next game. Yeah. Let's head to the next game. So Dallas, another Thanksgiving staple. They are 7.5-point favorites against the visiting Las Vegas Raiders. The over/under there is significantly higher than the other game. 51.5 is the over/under. Obviously, people are expecting more offense, more action. What are you expecting?
Well, I'm worried about Vegas scoring enough for the over. They scored in the last 3 games. They've scored 16, 14, 13. That's against the Giants, the Chiefs, and the Bengals. And I guess, actually, Dallas only scored against Kansas City. They scored 9 against them last week. Yeah. So they're coming off a loss. So I'm scared of Dallas if I'm the Raiders. I think they're going to pound it with Ezekiel and Pollard. I think that they were just going to take it to them, and I don't know that the Raiders will win another game the rest of the year. I think Washington's the only chance they have at winning a game the rest of the year, because everybody else is a +500 record. They've all got winning schedules except for Washington for the remaining schedule, and they don't look good anyway. After that, fake start of 3-0 or whatever, they're just the next year. Darren Waller, he's going to ball, and Dallas. They give it up pretty good to tight ends, too. So Darren Waller's going to be awesome. Daily fantasy, pay up and get him for your Turkey Day thing, I think, because he's going to be the solo guy, I think, on the Raiders that really lights it up, because I just don't see them impressing me in any way whatsoever lately.
Right.
I don't think so.
I'm trying to see if maybe there's a good there could be some good player props on I should have taken Waller and someone like Zeke. Yeah,
you bet. I should have taken a look at some player props and brought those, because there will be some good ones. And you know what, Pollard. So Zeke's got a little bit of was a knee. So he's a little bothered, but I think he's fine. But I think that Pollard, he's been getting plenty of work anyway. So I think Pollard's probably a good total over to bet on rushing and receiving, and I don't know what those numbers are, but I'm just guessing they're going to be a little low.
Let me start with Waller first because I see some of his props here.
Okay.
Over 5.5 receptions. Now it's minus 150 for the over, plus 120 for the under, but I'd feel pretty good about that over even at that price.
So yeah, I mean, he's been getting. Like 12 targets a game. I don't think that'll be a problem with the over. I hate paying 150 to get an over, but I think that's one that you can unless he gets injured or something. I think that's a confident play. I don't see any. I mean, what else? Where else are they going to go? I don't. You know, the running backs aren't. They're just not turning out right. I mean, what looked like a promising team early in the year just turned out to be like, I mean, they crumbled. You know, they lose their coach, they lose their Henry Ruggs, they lose another. It's been really nothing good happening in Vegas, but I'm sure they're winning lots of money at night there in the casinos because it's so easy. You know, it's really easy to win money in the casinos in Las Vegas. That's how they build all those buildings. Yeah. You're way ahead of me. Yeah, you're way ahead of me. So like one thing, like anytime touchdown scorer. I mean, that's something. So like see Ezekiel Elliott minus 175. So we'll go that, but Pollard plus 175. Anytime I would go for the first touchdown scored by him because they may be starting off with him running, taking it easy on Zeke, and you usually get like 10 to 15 to 1. You can check on that. There's hundreds of props on there on each game. And it'll say show props right above the line on BetUS on the right side. There's a little thing that says show props. Click on that, and then the world opens up to you.
That's a great point. And it's something I neglect the props, and I'm not even just talking about them on the show, but also in my own use at BetUS.com. I don't show props on enough games because every time I do, I'm like, there's opportunities all over this thing.
Exactly, and the thing is too on props. So these are up for tomorrow, which is great. But a lot of times the props they won't come up till the night before or the morning of. So with all these props, you have plenty of time to look at them and see which props you like and which props figure out in your system, or you know if you're following somebody that likes them. But figure out how the game flow is going to go. You know, Dallas is going to pound the rock. They're going to probably crush them. And I mean, this is probably going to be an under. You know, I hate to say it, but 51.5 just because. Oh, it's up to 7.5 too. Dallas was 7. I liked it at 7, but I still. But anyway, that's you figure out how the game's going to go. It's going to be Pollard and Ezekiel pounding it. But Pollard, you're going to get better odds. And if Ezekiel's a little more hurt or gets re-injured, Pollard's upside's pretty big. So that would be one I'd focus on besides Waller.
I like it. Now, one more Thanksgiving Day game. This is the night game, 8:20. Got the Buffalo Bills, who looked pretty trashy the last time we saw them at the New Orleans Saints. Bills 6-point favorites on the road. Over under here is 45.5. Did the Bills bounce back in a big way?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Saints. Simeons, I think at some point they go to Taysom Hill for a quarterback. I mean, Simeons, so they've been playing whatever. It's, you know, if you're going to play meh football, then okay. But at some point they're going to have to pump up the juice. And they just, you know, gave Taysom Hill, a guaranteed 40 or 60 million in a weird 4 or 6 year contract.
This guy's stealing money. Like, it's crazy that it's like we know we love him. We're just not really sure what he's doing here. But we got to lock him up.
What is he doing? So, you know what I kind of like now that we're talking about it, because I could see him getting put in early. Like if they go down early, because he's going to have some really low props.
Right. And
you might be getting some pretty good plus upside on that, like just to score any touchdown, something like that. I would check that stuff out because they're going to get they're going to get kind of beat down, I think, by Buffalo. And I think that puts them in a position like, we just gave Taysom all this money. Let's put him in there and see if he can bring us back. So there's an opportunity, a little speculative, but an opportunity to, based on the way the game's going to go, I think, and that line moving up, 7 to 7.5 is a huge move. So that means wise money's on Dallas, and they're going to pummel. They're going to get ahead. I would go on some Taysom Hill props and get them now before I call and change them all.
That's right. Give us 10 minutes. Just give us the 10-minute head start.
I give you guys all afternoon. What are you going to call them today? In the morning. Oh, I forgot to call you. Oh, yeah, we got nailed on all those. Yeah. All from Miami.
I love it. I love it.
I got one for you, though. And this is one that you might not know about, or the people might not look at, because the Steelers, people don't have a lot of confidence in them. So they are 4.5-point dogs. That is way too many points. I understand Cincy and Burrow's last two games he's played has been not great. And I would guess, this is an even game. This is a pick'em game, but you're getting 4.5. Yeah. Steelers, they get back TJ Watt. They get back Minka Fitzpatrick. And they get back, Joe Hayden, too. So they get back
they get
3 defensive players this week. That should be like maybe Cincy 1.5. That's 4.5. That's a huge play. That's the one of the week, buddy. I'm telling you. And I'm not going to even tell them to change that, because I'm going to open an account in a fake name. I'm all fire on it. It's like, BetUS, can I help you? Hi, this is Bar B. Yeah, I got to change my name. Oh no, this is Alex.
Put the heat on me. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Thursday's going to be great. Those games, we've got some really upside players. The games aren't the best stellar, but it's Thanksgiving. It's kind of a secondary thing. You're eating, you got uncles napping and grandpa's falling downstairs. And, it's like, I'll help them later. Call 911. I'm watching the game. What are you going to do? So let me ask you, what do you not like on Thanksgiving dinner? And what's something you really like that's a little bit off?
I'll get to the thing that's a little bit off. I'll tell you what I love, and I'm actually surprised we don't eat this more often. And maybe you don't like this because there can be onions in it, but I'm a huge fan of stuffing. I don't know why we only eat stuffing on Thanksgiving. So I could eat just an entire plate full of stuffing. I love it. The things I'm not big on, I don't like the sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows, because I don't like mixing sweet stuff with all the salty. So I don't like cranberry sauce on my turkey either. So those are the big no's for me. Those are the things I'm putting that aside, and I'm passing that around the table. As far as non-traditional, usually we go over to my parents, and my father cooks most of the Thanksgiving meal, and he will usually, because he's from Italy, he'll usually do some kind of a pasta dish. He'll do a lasagna some years, which is people ask me, what's your favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal? of course, the lasagna, the traditional Thanksgiving lasagna. So I love a nice pasta dish on Thanksgiving.
Well, that's pretty good. So, like you say, with the sweet potatoes and the stuff, because on my plate, turkey, mashed, stuffing, tons of gravy. So it kind of messes with that sweet stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Is that Ray? King
Ray.
Rulon?
Yeah, Ray. He's a good dude.
Oh, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. That's, lots of gravy, lots of turkey, lots of mashed, and lots of leftovers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Those will usually last us, deep into the weekend, man. It'll be Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, no.
I still got leftovers.
We used to do 5 or 6 birds down here and have about 20 people. Oh. And this is when my brother was down here and his family, and we'd fry 2, we'd bake 2, bring, and it was a good week or so, of just Filled, really.
You need all that energy to do that Black Friday shopping, you know?
Yeah, right.
Get you in line at Walmart.
Shopping. Yeah. Bye-bye. Everybody go shopping. This game's on. The Huskers are playing Iowa. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, listen, I appreciate your time as always, and I hope you and yours have an awesome Thanksgiving. Barry Barger.
I do too. And to all your peeps out there. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Barry, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the week. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, always a pleasure. BetUS, get it and do it.
Yeah, BetUS.com. And I want to remind everybody, BetUS.com. Like sometimes people ask me, wait, can I can really bet all these games and I can play blackjack for money there? Yeah, man. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. Like there's nothing gambling wise you can't do at BetUS.com. And remember, if you sign up with our show code, want to pull it up here so those if you're watching me on mute for whatever reason, you can still see this. Sign up with our show code 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign up bonus. That is the best bonus in the industry. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. So I'm going to do a roll call on the chat line in a minute. I do want to say a few words before we wrap up the show about the Miami Hurricanes athletic director, possibly head coaching search. But I want to talk to you guys first here about our great fantasy partner, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, guys, I have so much fun on this site and on this app. It is the best and easiest place to play fantasy football for big cash prizes. On Underdog Fantasy, you just draft. There's no need to worry about waivers, lineups, or injuries. Underdog handles all of that for you. This is the spot to play fantasy football and fantasy basketball because that's big this time of year. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download their smartphone app, which works great. Draft a season-long best ball team, and that's it. No in-season management. That's right. And you can get a bonus, by the way, if you sign up with our code 5RSN. Get a big bonus with 5RSN. I love Underdog because it's so easy to use. I love the season-long best ball teams. I love some of the daily props and the player props that they have. The mobile app is slick. The website is user-friendly. So do what I've been doing. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, join a league, draft a team, and that is it. You are good for the season. UnderdogFantasy.com. Huge happy Thanksgiving to Big Dan 305. Happy Thanksgiving to David. Happy Thanksgiving to Ray Grullon. Happy Thanksgiving to Vincent, who says, I said a year ago for Riley not to trade Tyler. And I also say Riley, the godfather in basketball, he knows exactly what to do and make the right decisions. And he did. So I don't understand the rest of that, but thank you, Vincent. Ryan, thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving to you. PB Matthew, only people who drank the media's Kool-Aid thought his ability was plateauing last year on Tyler Herro. It was only the people who drank the media's Kool-Aid. Maybe. I don't know. I saw a lot of fans thinking it, whether they were drinking the Kool-Aid or not. HM, happy Thanksgiving to you. Roxanne McCann, I hope we can get the same energy tonight. Yeah, that's right. It's back-to-back tonight, my friends. Back-to-back tonight. Minnesota tonight. So we're going right back at it. Hello to Roderick Tyrone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello to Gilbert Pajares. Thank you so much for tuning in. Probably Hulber. It's probably maybe how you say that. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen that name before. But thank you so much for watching. Zachary B. Herro is untouchable. I think he has. Oh, Andy from Scotland. I'm just seeing this one now. He listens to us across the pond. He wishes us a happy Thanksgiving across the pond. Thank you so much for doing that. G.A. Canes fan, Ray, is in as well. So, I know that I had I write out some scheduled tweets before the show starts, and I know that around 3:10, I had been planning to talk about a little bit of the mess that's going on with the athletic director search. I don't know if it is a mess or it isn't, but the media is being told a bunch of conflicting things by certain interested parties, and Mike Cugno referenced that a little bit when he was on with us. Here's the latest that our friend Gary Furman published on canesport.com. I'll read you an excerpt of this. It began with an effort by one segment of the university power structure to land Mario Cristobal as Miami's new football coach. It continued with another that didn't approve of the cost of that and wants to hire a new AD and let the AD make the decisions going forward. Some at the university, he says, want Manny Diaz to stay as coach, pointing to the emergence of Tyler Van Dyke combined with the unquestioned effort of Miami's players the second half of the season. After Saturday's victory over Virginia Tech, multiple people told Diaz he would be back. And there's more, he says. Representatives of Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin have also made it well known that he would be interested in the job. And sources say there are also some who are pushing for a run at Kentucky coach Mark Stoops. The University of Miami's search for an athletic director and football coach has become an old-fashioned struggle for influence or power, depending on your choice of words. It has become very complicated, he says. And the University of Florida has also mounted its coaching search, which could include both Kiffin and Cristobal, and also involves Louisiana's Billy Napier, a hot candidate right now who is already being rumored to be landing the job. While UM searches for consensus, the pressure is about to increase, he says. So who will dictate the end of this? Will it be the president's office, now caught in the middle? Will it be one camp or the other? How much influence will the new AD really end up having? That is all too close to call, he says on Wednesday morning. So we're starting to get some evidence here that certain factors within the board of trustees are really pushing, like Gary mentioned there, for somebody new, especially Mario Cristobal. There are other parties that actually want to give Manny Diaz more time. I'm not exactly sure why, because to me, the fact that this is a defensive-minded head coach who's also your defensive coordinator and the defense stinks, that's a huge red flag, okay? Manny Diaz is about to lose Rhett Lashley because Rhett Lashley, I believe, is going to end up the new head coach at SMU. So the only good thing schematically about Miami right now is the offense, right? And you take the offensive coordinator, the architect of that, away, and then leave the head coach, who's the defensive coordinator, and the defense can't stop a nosebleed. That's really problematic to me, okay? And you also, it's not the only reason, but I believe a big reason why Blake James was let go as athletic director is because that he hired Manny Diaz and the way he hired him. So you're going to fire Blake James for hiring Manny Diaz and then not fire Manny Diaz at the end of the day? It really doesn't add up to me. I think really the people in positions of power or perceived power, because David Lake from Inside the U wrote a pretty interesting report that the board of trustees, whether they know it or not, or whether they believe it or not, they're pretty toothless here. And it's really the president's office and his advisors who are going to be the one making the decisions, not the board of trustees. So maybe the board of trustees, that's the power struggle. It's the board of trustees people that are putting out these reports and leaking information for their own agenda, but they're not going to be the ones making this decision at the end of the day. So it's really messy. But listen, we had plenty of reason to doubt Diaz. And then to me, the Florida State game, I thought sealed his fate, or at least should have sealed his fate. So I'd be very disappointed if they give him another year, especially if they give him another year and then lose out on an opportunity to bring Cristobal here or lose out on an opportunity to bring Lane Kiffin here. Then I think that's just, and yeah, you could say we don't know who's going to be available next year. Maybe somebody even better is available next year. I don't think you can gamble on that. I think if you have the opportunity to upgrade at the head coaching position, because even if you like Manny Diaz, you would have to admit Cristobal or Kiffin would be an upgrade, whether you like Diaz or not. And if you have the opportunity to upgrade, and that opportunity may not be there a year from now, because one of them might end up the Florida coach, the other might end up getting a huge extension to stay at their current university. So I do not want to waste that opportunity right now, man. I'm telling you. Have a great day. You as well, Andy. All right, guys, this is not going to be the last time you see me on this channel tonight. Okay, I'm going to be hosting. Usually we do 5 rounds, MMA and boxing talk, combat sports. Usually we do it on Thursday nights. For obvious reasons, we're not doing it on Thursday night this week. We're doing it tonight, okay? I'm going to be in less than 2 hours, 6 p.m. You're going to see me alongside Frank Zaffrey and alongside James Walker talking combat sports. Conor McGregor is he's campaigning for a title shot once he comes back from that broken leg of his. He's recovering very nicely from what I hear, but I don't think this guy in any way, shape, or form deserves a shot at UFC gold coming off the negative run that he's been on. He lost that last fight to Dustin Poirier. He's campaigning for it. Will he get it? We will talk about that and so much more tonight on 5 rounds. So join us at 6 o'clock. And guys, make sure you are frequenting the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. was an awesome watch party last night at the Davie location. I regret that I could not be out there. It was a whole babysitting snafu. I had to stay home to watch my son. And I thought about bringing him out there, but he goes to bed at like 8. So I would have thrown off his entire weekend. So I couldn't make it out there last night. I will be at the next one. I'll be at the next 50 out there at the Quarterdeck Davie. An awesome time was had by all. The seafood is delicious. 2-for-1 happy hour never ends. Sandwiches and burgers are great. Guys, if you want to find the location nearest to you, go out and watch a game. Watch a UFC pay-per-view fight there for no cover charge. Go to their website, quarterdeckrestaurants.com. Peep their menu before you go. I like to check out menus before I go to a restaurant. You're going to love everything on the Quarterdeck menu. The hardest part is deciding what you want to order, okay? You're going to love it. Peep their menu or find the location nearest to you. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. All right, so that, and I like, so I don't know, DA Dark Knight, do you mean this nickname for Tyler Herro or for Brady Hawk? Because we call Brady Hawk of 5 Reasons Sports, we call him Boy Wonder. Are you trying to call Tyler Herro Boy Wonder? I'm partial to Baby Jordan myself. I know Baby Goat is, his common nickname these days. I want to bring Baby Jordan out of retirement because, Harold Miner didn't do too much with that nickname, but maybe Tyler Herro will. But Boy Wonder is not bad either. Boy Wonder is already taken by Brady Hawk of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Huge shout out to everybody who watched us live, or if you're watching us later on, no matter your situation, you're watching us live right now, or you're watching us later, smash the like button. Please hit the thumbs up button. It does us a big solid. It makes this channel available to more people, this video available to more people. So hit the thumbs up button, the like button, and make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. I will talk to you guys again, maybe even tomorrow. I don't know. I might fuck around and do a live show tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure. And then I think Friday we're going to do something a little bit earlier in the day. So we'll sort out the rest of this week. I will talk to you guys again here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.